Hey YouTube, this is Dev here. I'm going to show you a simple C++ program using Microsoft Visual Studio. I am personally going to school right now for software development and software engineering, computer programming, all those things. I'm in it right now. I'm taking a class on C++ video game programming, so I have pretty good background on C++. But C++ can be very confusing for people. Especially when you're trying to get the idea of just the basics. If you're used to Python, doing Hello World is fairly easy. Doing Visual C or C++, it can be kind of difficult and it can be kind of confusing. So I'm going to use Microsoft Visual Studio. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start a Windows console application in Microsoft Visual Studio. I know that's not necessary for doing a C++ program, doing like Hello World or something, but this is just going to get you going. The other parts, taking all the forms and putting everything together, and the extensions and adding those, that can get kind of confusing at first. I know my teacher said avoid that now. Just go ahead and do a Windows console application. So that's what we're going to do. To get started here on our Visual Studio, we're going to hit Control-Shift-N. And there we go. You gotta press all at the same time. Make sure that on your project here you got C++ chosen, and then Windows console application. I'm gonna call this just my project is going to be Hello World, and I'm gonna leave the solution name the same. It doesn't really matter as long as you know what you're going to click on later on. Create directory, yes, you always want to create the directory. For solution, add to source control, don't worry about that. So Control-Shift-N, it'll bring up your new project. You're going to click on Visual C++, Windows console application, name Hello World, solution name will be the same as whatever you type in for your name, but you can add that if you wanted to, but for just this we're going to leave it as this. So we'll click OK, it'll do its building, and then we'll get into the program. This takes a little bit, but not too bad. Alright, so here we are. We get all this stuff. What I do is I just hit Control-A and delete it. I don't like looking at it. That's just me. But if you want to read it, go for it. There's just a couple comments in there that'll help you get started. So, if you're doing a Windows console application using C++, you have to make sure that you're using a specific library to access C++ for the Windows console application. So before I get started, okay, so I did go ahead and increase the size of my text so you guys can see what's going on here. So using a Windows console application with Microsoft Visual Studio, you always want to hash include in double quotes pch.h. That's just, if you don't have that at the very first line, it won't work. So then we're going to include IOStream. So once your little once your library kind of pops up like that, if I do IOStream and I just scroll down, I just hit tab and it just autofills in for the rest of me. So from here, you want to do int main and do two parentheses and then curly braces. std, 2 colons, cout, 2 less than signs, because you're going to go out to the console, and double quotes you're going to say hello world. Never, make sure you always remember your semicolon at the very end of your code, otherwise C++ will crash completely. Bombs will go off in a different planet. It's insane. It is very frustrating when you forget something as simple as a semicolon. You never want to make sure. I had to take a drink of water real quick. You never, just make sure you always have your semicolons. So we got that. Very last thing we're gonna do is return 0. So we got our pch.h for Windows console application. Include IOStream, so we can just do basic programming for C++. In our int main program, std colon colon cout less than hello world semicolon return 0. All we gotta do now is press F5, and it'll do its building. It'll work everything together, take all your stuff, and it's compiling and saying, hey computer, this is what you want to do. You look up here, hello world, and that's it, which is right here. So now, this is simple. This is simple stuff. It's very easy. It's easy, but it's fun. But we can make this a little bit simpler here. So after your IO stream, you can say using name space std. So what that means is you can come back in here and get rid of that. And you know, for me, I like how the way things need to look in my code specifically. So I say hello world. If I say oops \n and then I run this, it's still the same exact code, but I have a new line now, still shows hello world, and no problem. That's great. From here, you can go through anything. There's so much more to do here. So there will be more videos coming up on just basic C++ programming, and I can kind of go into advanced stuff, and stuff I'm doing in school. But just to get a kind of little quick recap, we'll just delete all this. Include pch.h, which is your library for using a Windows console application in C++. Then we're going to hash include. So what I remember in class is the less than and greater than sign. They're called chevrons, but we're going to call them just angle brackets. So hash include angle bracket IO stream. IO stream. After this, using name space std semicolon. That way you don't have to do std in front of all your stuff, because that can get very cumbersome. There's a lot of information, a lot more typing. Go ahead and just use using namespace std. It's just easier and it's quicker. Int main parentheses curly bracket. So this is going to put yourself in that main program. Cout. So you're going to go out to the console, and what you're going to write out to the console is hello world. On the outside of your double quotes, semicolon, return 0 semicolon. Now you don't have to have the space here. You can leave it like this if you wanted to, but I'm a neat freak with my code. I like to have the spaces and stuff. It just makes it a little bit easier for me to see. So that's all you got to do, and once you're done with everything, you know, you go back here and you can put \n, so you can make your spells have a nice little space. Press F5, and boom, hello world. You got your stuff. You can hit any key to close the window here. So I hit space, whatever. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I will get back to you as soon as I can. But other than that, thank you very much for watching. I will be putting out new videos on C++ programming. Later I'm going to do Python. I'm going to do Visual Basic. I'm going to do a lot of different videos. So again, thank you for watching. Drop a like if you liked the video. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them in the comments section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.